No matter what, people will commit to misunderstanding you. What's most important is your commitment to understanding yourself. Hello, you guys. My name is Nkirka Madani, known as NK, and welcome back to Misunderstood. Ignoring them is your best response. I was really inspired to make this specific episode. A few instances happened this week that deserved spotlight on the podcast. And then I thought, all right, what do all of these instances have in common? I need to focus on myself more than the external factors that are out of my control. And why I thought this would be perfect for the misunderstood community, the basis of misunderstood is making sure you understand yourself, making sure that you take care of yourself above all else, which is not selfish, and you're protecting your energy. Because we truly cannot control other people. We can't control their actions and we can't control how they view us. But what we can control and what is within our bounds is ourself. And as long as we are making sure that we are good, that's all that matters. Have you ever been in a situation where you have been flat out ignored by your friends, your coworkers, your parents, a guy you like? The list goes on. But also, have you been in a situation where you have been met with a very uncomfortable scenario, a very uncomfortable statement, and you feel frozen? You feel like you don't know how to react and you don't know how to respond. And let me just tell you, being silent and ignoring them is almost always the best response. I am someone who has struggled with this over the years. I've been in therapy for collectively almost 4 years. And what I've learned from therapy and my amazing therapists I've had in the past is that you have to choose the lesser evil. You have to choose staying silent rather than blowing shit up. Because in most cases, when you blow shit up, you almost always can't take it back. You almost always go a little too far and you can sever friendships, relationships, and things will most likely not be the same if you blow shit up. So, choosing the lesser evil, ignoring them, staying silent, although it's not the most mature in a lot of ways, but it is warranted in a lot of ways. Staying silent and ignoring negativity is warranted in so many situations because let's be honest, so many things actually don't need your energy. You don't even need to waste your time and your energy on people who are committed to misunderstanding you, on people who could care less about you, but just want to get a rise out of you. Ignoring them is your best response. Ignoring them allows you to take back your power, allows you to take back control. All right, let's talk about where do we even start? Because a few things happened this week, like I mentioned, but where do we begin? The first instance I want to talk about is online comments that are literally nonsense. I've been on the internet for 5 years as a creator, so I am absolutely no stranger to people being ridiculous, people being nonsensical, and I have gotten so many horrible, disgusting comments over the years. My personality is one that I like to fight for justice. I don't fight for no reason. I fight for justice. I fight to make sure that I'm not silenced. That goes back to how I was raised. That goes back into a lot of trauma that I've faced in my life. When I get negative comments on the internet, and I'm not talking about just generic negative comments, comments that the commenter said it with the intent of blatantly being mean or blatantly being rude or disgusting. And it's very easy to sift between the two. This past weekend on my YouTube, I have a YouTube channel if you're new here, I got a comment on my YouTube video. The commenter said, quote, "Do you have any Black friends?" I'm pausing for dramatic effect because listen to how that sounds. I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I really do. But when something comes out of your mouth, did you hear how it sounded? Did you? Did you say it out loud? And did you hear how it landed? Did you hear how it sounded? Because there's so many ways I can express that the comment was not okay. The comment had so many undertones. I read it. I was instantly jarred. I was instantly upset. I've had unfortunate situations, specifically on my YouTube, where a lot of people have wanted to call out my Blackness, have wanted to call out how I walk through the world because of my skin tone. Because in their minds, they believe that there is one way a Black woman should act, and I'm not it in their eyes. Therefore, the negativity ensues. The backhanded comments flow. And it's not okay. But here's the other thing. I have spent a lot of time fighting other people. I've spent a lot of time asserting who I am. And that's exhausting. And you have to understand when you've been put in a situation multiple times and when there's a pattern of behavior, there comes a point where you're fighting in circles. And it doesn't matter how much louder you fight and how much longer you fight, the other person will not care. The other person will not even try to see it from your POV because they are stuck in their own. So why fight? Why continue fighting when ignoring them will eventually silence them? There are also so many actions that you can take if you're in this situation. You can block them. You can report them. There are other avenues that you can take if you want this to stop. But for me, something I'm also realizing as someone who's been on the internet for 5 years and who's seen a lot of shit, and who's taken a lot of shit from people who don't even know who the fuck I am, I realize that no matter what, literally no matter what, you will have people who love you and you will have people who hate you. And they will all coexist in the same space. But you have to be who you are. And you have to walk in your own path, no matter what, no matter the outcome. Your community will be behind you. And the haters are just there because they have nothing else better to do, let's be honest. The people who want to nitpick your personality and your mannerisms and how you show up for yourself, they'll always be there, unfortunately, but that doesn't detract from all the good you are. That doesn't detract from the amazing light you bring. Another reason why it's great to ignore people on the internet. This can be said for battles on the internet or battles in person between friends, between family. This can go across the board. But what I've found is that when I ignore someone publicly who has said something completely out of line, my community shows up for me. My community has my back. And other people, i.e. my community, my supporters, will fight my battles so I don't have to. When you ignore to something that is absolutely ridiculous, the people who care about you will chime in at your defense. In reply to the "do you have any Black friends" comment, someone in my community who I know has been watching my vlogs for a very long time, she commented back to that person and said, "I've seen friends of all colors on her vlogs: black, white, brown, gray, pink, green, purple, period." And I love that response because I know that response had some heat to it because she knows, just like so many other people know in the comment section in my community, that the original comment was out of line. It wasn't okay. I don't care how long you've been on my channel. I don't care if you're just seeing me for the first time. You don't ask someone that. You don't jump to conclusions. You don't live in your own small biases in your head. I was very happy with how that person responded, and I'm leaving it at that. Again, this isn't my battle. I have nothing to say to the original commenter. She knows that what she said was wrong and out of line. And publicly, me not saying anything is a statement in and of itself, and I'm proud of it. Another example, how people will chime in at your defense. I recently went to Stagecoach Music Festival, which is a country music festival in Coachella Valley, California. This festival is primarily white. Let's call it what it is. It is a primarily white festival. And unfortunately, this festival also has a lot of political charge to it. I'll leave it at that. I was posting TikTok videos throughout being at the festival, and someone commented, someone who was Black, I believe that is important to say here, commented on one of my videos saying, "Why are you there?" I didn't respond. That is another example of a comment that is so out of line. is so intentionally trying to make me feel uncomfortable, intentionally trying to hurt my feelings. She knew that, unless you're stupid, but I want to believe that you're not, you're just ignorant. Someone responded to her comment saying, why can't she be? Because truly, why can't I be at a public event for music that I enjoy? And again, this goes back to her having an opinion of me based on my race, based on my skin tone, and that alone. Having no other capacity for depth other than what I look like, which is obviously wrong, which is also racist. When will we as a society leave that behind? I have no idea, but I'm here in 2025 saying, unfortunately, this is still a big conversation we're having. But at the end of the day, I was really happy that, again, someone came to my defense and said, why can't she be? Next, I want to talk about people in real life who make jabs at you and or make fun of you when it's clearly not a joke. There's been so many situations where I have been in friend groups that clearly do not like me. And back then, I was really insecure and didn't understand that this is actually a detriment to my lifestyle and to who I'm becoming if I continue to keep myself in spaces that are actually limiting me, are actually not aligned with me. People who don't really care about me is not doing any benefit to me. I've been in a few situations with girls who were at parties. I tell them that I have a crush on this guy or I think a guy's cute. They would try to talk shit about me to the guy or try to tell a story that was obviously embarrassing to me that I also told them in confidence, play it off as a joke and think it's okay. In those scenarios, I have walked away from friends and friendships and friend groups that have treated me this way with no explanation, because the people who are the perpetrators, meaning the people who are doing these acts that are obviously wrong and mean and bullying, do I really need to explain to you how what you're doing is wrong? I think you have common sense, but unfortunately, common sense is not so common. And unfortunately, people are really lacking self-awareness and really lacking understanding how they are coming across and understanding how they are actually hurting people. A lot of people don't put that together. But also, on the opposite, there are a lot of people who are intentionally mean and intentionally mean girls and intentionally want to drag you down. It's a very toxic cycle. If you've been in a situation where you have been bullied by, quote, friends who secretly hate you, please leave. Please walk away. I know it's hard. I know you might feel like they are your friends, but they're not. And by walking away from them, you are choosing yourself. By walking away from them, you are allowing yourself to find better friends, to find better environments that will support you, that will lift you up, that will actually be your hype woman or your hype people. I want to talk about fuckboys and past flames. I've had a lot of those, unfortunately, but specifically what I want to say here is a little story about this guy who I dated last fall. I really liked him, and I want to do a whole episode about that situation. But for the purposes of this podcast episode, I want to share the ending of us dating. We mutually decided that we were not going to see each other again. This was after we came back from a trip together. Yes, me and him went on a trip together. More to come on that. We decided we were not going to talk anymore and we were just going to leave it here because honestly, it was a perfect, yes, bittersweet, but it was a perfect ending to us dating. We had just gone on a trip. We had just come back. He helped me bring my suitcases into my apartment. We had dinner and we hugged goodbye. And it was a really mature conversation at the end, which for me, as someone who's super emotional, that made me cry even harder because I wanted to date him. But I knew that it was not going to work out in the end for many reasons. We said goodbye. He left. A month later, this guy reaches out to me again. I want to remind you, we had said we were not going to speak anymore. We were going to leave it in the past and move on with our lives, go our separate ways. Those were the terms of what we discussed. So by him reaching out to me after I set a boundary that he broke, because he also asked me the night that we said bye, should we text? I said, respectfully, no, I don't want to text. I need to move on. So a month later, when he texts me, that is a clear violation of the boundary that I clearly expressed to him. And I thought that he would be a person who would respect my boundaries, but he didn't. So I ignored him. I ignored that text message. I decided to block him after that. And yes, I understand blocking seems very harsh in a lot of scenarios, but also in a lot of scenarios, blocking is necessary for your safety, for your peace of mind. I stand by that. And in this situation, I had to block him because if I've expressed my boundary to you, to your face, and you blatantly ignore them, then I'm going to ignore you. It's as simple as that. And honestly, that is my recommendation for anyone who's in this situation, be it a fuckboy, be it a past flame that you find yourself in a toxic negative cycle where you can't get over them. You probably can't get over them because they are still in your purview. They are still in your sphere. They are taking up energy from you, whether you want to believe it or not. And it is because you are keeping them at bay. You are keeping them in arm's reach. And I know it's hard, but you do have to cut the tie, because cutting the tie will free you up to moving on. This scenario also reminds me of dates that have gone wrong. I've had a lot of great dates, but I've also had a lot of really, really shitty dates where I never, ever, ever want to see said person again. I went on a date last summer. I thought I handled it very maturely. We went on this date. It was only an hour long, which for me, I think that's a pretty short date. My dates are usually at least 2 hours long. Even if I don't see them again after that, I would say a 2-hour date is a standard date. This date was only an hour long. He texted me 2 days after, starting up a conversation, and I told him right then and there I didn't see a connection, and respectfully, let's go our separate ways. Take care, all the best. This guy sends me a very jarring message about how I should give him another chance and how could I discern that from one date. Well, first off, I can definitely discern my feelings towards a guy after one date. I understand the saying of date him till you hate him, but also, maybe this is a hot take, but I don't think that you should waste your time with a guy if you don't see it going into a relationship. And again, this is my thought process right now. When I was in my early 20s, I was very pro date him till you hate him. I absolutely was. I dated a lot of guys just for fun because I could, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now, because my dating intentions have changed dramatically and I know what I want more so than I ever have in my life, I am walking through my dating with so much discernment, with so much clarity, with so much intention, where yes, after the first date, I do in fact know if I want to pursue something with somebody or if I want to walk away. And I believe that how I handled that communication with him was the best, most respectful way I could. Here's the other thing. When you come at a situation with so much respect, with so much maturity, you will clearly see how immature some people are by how they respond to you. His response showed me that he is not mature. How old was he? I think he was like 35 or 36. It's not about the age, but I find that so many guys are not even emotionally and intellectually mature enough to handle dating in their mid-30s, which is so disheartening. I'm only speaking for New York City, which New York is a whole battlefield that I do want to cover in a different episode. So I can't speak for the rest of the world, but in New York, it is rough out here. So once he said that to me, his response was jarring, and I said what I had to say originally, so I was in no way, shape, or form going to go back and forth with him. I just ignored his message and moved on, because there's no reason to waste my time on somebody who I am not interested in, who I respectfully told that I'm not interested in. It's not a crime to not be interested in somebody. It's either you need to be able to take it like a man and move on. End of story. I want to talk about catcalling. Ladies, we've all been through this. Unfortunately, a lot of the times that I've been catcalled, I have felt very, very uncomfortable. And that sucks. It sucks to feel uncomfortable. I've unfortunately heard very scary stories about people in New York being physically assaulted after a guy catcalls them and they decline and they ignore them and they don't want any part of it, because 10 out of 10 times you don't want any part of it. That hurts me. That hurts my soul. Women should not be in fear just walking down the damn street. We should be able to walk through the world just like men and be comfortable. So many times I've been made to feel so uncomfortable by guys just by existing. I don't understand why guys feel the need to even utter a sentence, utter a word, a phrase as I walk by. There's a way to be respectful and pay someone a genuine, normal compliment and go about your life. But 10 out of 10 times, you are not going to get a rise out of me, and you're not going to get the reaction that you so are craving by yelling at me across the street while I'm walking to the train. I truly believe when guys do this, it is giving small dick energy. It is giving you are trying to compensate for something. It is giving you have never been laid in your life and you're trying to just get something easy. It's giving you've never had a girlfriend. You've never had a mature, serious relationship before. Catcalling pisses me off so much. It really does. And ignoring is your best response, ladies. When you are being catcalled, ignore. Obviously use discernment in all cases, but for the most part, ignore. Go about your day, go to your train, go to wherever you're going and ignore them. And if any guy tries to approach you after they've catcalled you, run into a store, make it known, make it public. Other people will help you if you do feel like you're in danger. You should not be walking through the world feeling that you're going to get hurt by ignoring a stupid boy. The next one I want to talk about is making its way through TikTok right now. This is a very big topic on TikTok, and I absolutely need to give my 2 cents. Guys having an opinion on what girls wear in the gym. I'm seeing a lot of discourse about a lot of guys who are ultimately loud and wrong about their opinions. Why does it matter that a girl is wearing a sports bra and short shorts to the gym? Why? Why does it matter? And why does it bother you so much? When the last time I checked, people go to the gym to work on themselves. Yeah. A few of these viral TikToks from these guys complaining talked about how women are wearing, quote, lingerie. And this just makes me think, I know that guys don't even know what lingerie looks like if you're saying this, because I bet your ass their, quote, lingerie is not lingerie. A bra and tight short shorts is not lingerie. Why are you staring at them? When, again, we're in the gym to work on ourselves, to lock in on ourselves. And the discourse in the comments of most of these videos call these guys to focus on themselves rather than what women are putting on their bodies. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, she's not your girl. You don't know her, but you're so concerned with what she's wearing to the point that you're getting on the internet and making this stupid video about. Please. I myself love to wear a sports bra at the gym. I wear leggings or shorts, but they are tight and there's nothing wrong with that. If we look back in time, people in the 80s would wear bodysuits to the gym, okay? And no one complained about that. But here we are in 2025 complaining about women wearing really tight clothing and showing their stomach. Interesting, right? I myself, I have a curvy figure, my lower half at least. I have a butt. I have a waist. When I wear most clothing, it looks very shapely. I never want to feel like I am being pinpointed and I'm being picked apart by what I wear at the gym, when every damn time I step into the gym, I'm in my own world. My AirPods are on high. I am locked the fuck in. I'm not speaking to anybody. I'm going to my machines. I'm doing my sets. I'm being efficient and I'm leaving. I realize when I go to the gym, there are a lot of times where guys are just staring at other people or not disciplined and just wasting time, to be honest. And those are the guys who are complaining about these girls. So I think it speaks for itself. As long as you're locking in and being disciplined, you won't give a shit about what anybody's wearing. You won't know what anyone's wearing because you're so focused on yourself, which is how the gym should be. Anytime that I have been approached in the gym, for the most part, I'm ignoring them because a lot of guys are honestly very creepy at the gym. I'll say it. A lot of guys aren't respectful at the gym either. I've been in situations where guys would hog the machines. And when I say hog the machines, they're at one machine for over 20 minutes. That is a long time to be at one machine. And they're not being respectful or courteous to the many people who might want to use this machine. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to give my energy to anybody at the gym because I know why I'm there, and I'm going to clock in and clock out like a job. I'm clocking in, I'm clocking out. I'm clocking in, I'm getting my shit done, and I'm clocking out. But I also want to say here, I have never been blatantly rude or blatantly mean to anybody who has approached me at the gym. If someone says hi to me, I'll say hi and I'll keep it moving. But you won't catch me having a full-on conversation with anybody because I'm there for a reason. I'm there for a purpose. And back to what girls wear at the gym. Ignoring them is your best response. Ignoring any guy who stares at you or literally tries to make you feel uncomfortable, because that has happened to me so many times at the gym where guys literally are trying to make me feel uncomfortable. Guys are literally watching me walk from one side of the gym to the other. Guys are intentionally standing or working out super close to me when there is room in so many other places of the gym. Ignore them. You're not going to get a rise out of me. You will not get a rise out of this girl because I'm so focused on myself that you don't exist to me, which is how it should be. Ladies, make sure to just focus on yourself. This is your time. You're locking in on yourself. You're taking care of your body, and I'm so proud of you for that. The guys have no say in this matter. They're loud and wrong and wear whatever you want to the gym. Because who gives a fuck? Next, I want to talk about people who reach out to you only to get something from you and they don't even support you. Yeah. With my work of being a content creator for this long, I have experienced a lot of unfortunate situations where people, my peers, or just people who don't even know me, but literally just want something out of me, contact me either by DM, send an email, are so incessantly wanting information as though they are entitled to my information. Mind you, these said people do not follow me, have never supported a goddamn thing that I've ever posted, yet they are so forthright with wanting the information that I have. I saw a thread not too long ago about this very thing. One girl said, not supporting me, but asking for my process of how I create content is actually crazy. Because it is crazy. You want something out of somebody, but you are not willing to support the person who you are wanting to derive information from. It's sick. It's also so out of touch. No one owes you anything. You're not entitled to anybody's information. And I think in every single case I have had this happen to me, I have just flat out ignored them. Flat out ignored. Sometimes I'm a little petty and I make sure my red receipt is on so they know that I saw it and I just didn't respond. You know why? Because you are not owed anything from me. You can go find the information on your own, just like I found the information on my own. There's no way I'm going to be inclined to help you when you don't support me. You aren't a supporter. You're doing it for your personal gain and your gain alone. That will never sit right with me. I've seen it happen to so many other people too, and especially because I've experienced it myself, that will never sit right with me. If this has happened to you, just know you don't owe anybody anything. And I know that many people are going to misunderstand that statement because there is this discourse about you don't owe anybody anything, but it is so situational. You owe your friends your time and your energy, and that is reciprocated. People are forgetting the reciprocation of it all. And what I'm talking about right now is the most non-reciprocal it can get. Someone who doesn't know you, who doesn't support you, but is trying to ask for something for free or to advance themselves. And in those cases, ignoring is very much warranted because you do not owe them anything. The last note I want to talk about is with family. So family is a very touchy topic for a lot of people, especially for me. And on this podcast, I do want to talk a lot more about family dynamics and how to move through uncomfortable family situations. I'm recording this the day after Mother's Day. If you've listened to episode 12, You Choose Your Family, I talk in detail about a lot of my family dynamics, and I do want to dive into a few more over time, but that would be a great episode to listen to if you're new here and if you want to learn a little bit more about where I come from with my family strain and my family dynamics. But what I want to say here is what I've recently been through with family. Yesterday, I recorded a voice note to my mom. Yesterday was Mother's Day. My whole life, I've been struggling with the sense of family, but especially with my relationship with my mom has been strained ever since I was a kid for a lot of reasons. But something wasn't sitting right with me all day yesterday, and I knew that I had to speak up and I knew that I had to tell her how I felt. And this has been such a long-standing saga of expressing how I feel to her so that she can understand me more. Because at the end of the day, she doesn't know me for me, who I am now. She has a view of who I am as a kid because that was the last time we really connected. And I'm 30 years old and there's been a lot of life that has been lived that she has no idea about. And that hurts me. It hurts me because I want a relationship with her. And it hurts me because I want to be able to tell her things and for her to understand. But here's the thing, there are things that I know she'll never understand. And also, on the flip side, there are a lot of things that she went through that I will never understand. But I want to try and I want to make an effort. So I sent her an 11-minute voice note about everything I've been feeling for a while. And obviously, I couldn't share my whole life in 11 minutes, but I shared how hard Mother's Day is for me as a child to be able to express. I shared how I have been put in a lot of uncomfortable situations by her and my dad since I was a kid that has led me to feeling the way I do as an adult. It has impacted my relationships with boys, with my friends, with my peers. It has damaged me in ways that are really painful. And although I know I can't go back in time and change everything that I've experienced that has been traumatic, what I can do is start from now and move forward. I want to have a relationship with her and I want to be able to tell her things and I want to feel loved and comforted in the ways that I know that I need it. And I don't think that she understands that, but I believe that what I did yesterday with sharing this voice note was the first true, honest step to making a change. There's been so many situations in my adulthood with my mom where I have felt like ignoring her is the best response because my emotional regulation, even 3 years ago, was really bad. And I know that. But here's the thing, my emotional regulation sprouted from how my parents treated me. This was not of my own doing. This was reflected back to me from how I was treated all throughout my life. And it sucks because I know I'm a good person, but there are so many times where I have seen missteps within myself because of how I was treated by my parents. And I've lashed out at people who I love because at the time I didn't know how to react appropriately. So I just ignored them. There was a whole year, I believe, a year and a half that I did not speak to my mom, which is a very long time because I was so hurt, because I was frustrated, because I was angry. And a lot of the anger came out when I started going to therapy and my therapist unpacked a lot of the childhood trauma that I experienced. And it is important to get to the root of your traumas, and childhood trauma does impact how you live for the rest of your life. So if you're listening to this and if you feel like there are things in your past, especially in your childhood, that are unresolved, I'm not saying that they will be resolved tomorrow, but to be willing to tap into that will change your life, I swear. So back to the premise of this episode. I do believe that ignoring them is the best response in a lot of cases, but choosing to want to fight for relationships is important too. And I believe with my mom, this is something that has been weighing on my heart literally all my life. That's not an exaggeration. I want better. I want to be better. And I want us to actually be able to talk regularly and be able to come to a common ground. Wherever that common ground is, I'm willing to find it. Here on Misunderstood, it is all about how we move through situations and how we become the best version of ourselves. There are so many factors at play that try to shift us and try to sway us in a certain direction. But what we can do is grab hold of who we are and be anchored in that. I believe discernment is the most important thing for any and all instances where you don't know how to respond. And if you are trying to grapple with whether you should ignore somebody or speak to them, that is ultimately up to you. I just wanted to give you guys some really tangible examples across all areas of my life that I've been met with this and how I've been able to move through them. And I do believe as long as you are being true to yourself, that is in fact your best response. And with that, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Misunderstood. Remember to rate the podcast 5 stars on Spotify and Apple and follow the podcast wherever you're listening. Feel free to leave a comment and let me know how you liked this episode. Remember to join the Geneva group chat. We have 250 members, which is so exciting. The link to join the group chat is in the show notes of this episode. We also have a jot form where you can ask questions, leave comments privately. I would love to hear your submissions. Hang out with me on my other socials, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Pinterest at NK Madani, and I will talk to you guys in my next one.